Hello, this is Rockan. I am live. I have my sunglasses on again because I did not feel like putting on makeup for this live stream. I am here to talk about the negative treatment that you get having Aspergers, or as it is otherwise known as high functioning autism. There's just something that I need to get off of my back that I realized upon writing my book, Breaking My Silence, Autism, Bullying, Sexuality, and More, which is on my website, rockan.com. And I also have a public diary that I write in. There is something that I realized because I have been doing a lot of analyzing as to why I suffer from low self-esteem, and I've been writing about it a lot, and I've been trying to figure out what are the subconscious triggers that are causing me to suffer from low self-confidence. Why is it specifically, what is it subconsciously that is doing that? What is causing that subconsciously? And here's another thing that I have figured out. If you have Asperger's or autism, you get a lot of negative treatment from society, but I'm here to talk about one particular kind of negative treatment that you get. So I've noticed a lot of organizations that say that they cater to people with autism or Asperger's. I'm just going to say autism to make things simpler. A lot of organizations who say they cater to this will actually treat you like children most of the time. They look at you as like you're a little kid. You're a child. They look at you like you're a 5-year-old. I swear to God. Most of them do this, and it's really destructive because it undermines your intelligence. It reinforces this negative conditioning and this negative stereotype that you're basically being, subconscious on subconscious level, you are being told that you are a dummy. You are being told that you are stupid and that you're not fucking capable of anything. And treating you like a little kid, treating you like a child, doesn't even fucking bring out your true potential. It doesn't bring out anyone's potential at all. That's a lot of times why people who have high functioning autism or similar disability will a lot of times stay down and not make any progress in the positive direction. Sometimes they stay down, sometimes they regress. I believe it's because of this negative treatment that they're getting, and they suffer from low self-esteem because they're constantly being treated like a child. And psychologically they feel like a child also because they're being treated like a child. So psychologically they're gonna feel like a child. It's just really, I just think it's really fucking destructive to be treated like that. And I suffered from that a lot growing up. I mean, when I was a teenager, maybe some of the treatment I got was a little bit more understandable because I was a minor, and minors don't have a lot of rights. But I don't know. I still don't think it makes. I still don't think that makes it right though. Um. Yeah. So I'm talking about most organizations that say that they cater to special needs will do this. And I know there's a few in particular that I think of right off the top of my head, but I'm not gonna name them. But I'm gonna talk about one right now. There's an organization that is there is an organization that specifically caters to special needs kids. They basically act like as a club, and you join the club and they put on these activities so that special needs people can meet and that they can make friends and develop social connections. There's one specific organization that does this that I can think of that I actually personally am tied to and have went to their activities and events and more. I'm not gonna name them because they're kind of high profile, and I don't even wanna go there with naming them and all that. But I don't really want to say who they are because I don't want this. I don't want this to like blow up and come back to me, and I don't know. I feel it's better to just omit their name. I feel it's better, but they have this mentality that you are special needs. You are like a child, therefore I'm gonna treat you like a child. That's what they fucking do because, like, all their activities are catered towards, like, you would think when you go to their activities, you would think that it's for like 12-year-olds. It's often, it's rarely like for it's rarely like, you know what I mean? It rarely fosters development into adulthood. It rarely is like, it's always like, I mean, but yeah, there are activities you'd think that it's for a 12-year-old, but yeah, what I'm saying is it's catered towards much younger audiences, like much younger. And yet they have it's okay for the children who go there, but it's okay for them. But they have people who, here's the problem. They also cater to people who are 18 and older, and they also cater to teenagers. Here's the problem. Even if you are 18 and older, they still watch you and supervise you like you're a freaking child. They still, like, they treat you like a child, and they think that you need to be watched. They think that you need to be supervised because you can't be trusted to be on your own. And they do this to teenagers too as well, but with teenagers, most of the time they're minors. It's a little more understandable, I guess, in the context of the law and not having a lot of rights, and I don't know, but I still don't necessarily think it's right, I don't really agree with it. But anyhow, and the way they run these activities, it's like the way they talk to you, just the whole way they talk to you, it's like you're a little kid. The whole way they talk to you, it's like you're 5 years old or something, the way they talk to you and the way they treat you and just the whole way they run it. And they put on a summer camp too. I went to their freaking summer camp, man. Let me tell you. That summer camp was hell. It was like the summer camp from hell, man, because they really do. I mean, the activities at the summer camp and the way they watch you and supervise you and the whole way that they run it, it's like, here I am. I'm like seven. I think I was like 16 or 17 years old. Oh, I was like 17 when I went to their summer camp. Here I am, 17 years old. I have a bunch of people watching me, like, it just makes you feel like you're mentally retarded. I'm sorry, it does. I have, like, people watching me, and I'm doing this art with crayons. Like, I'm doing this art, and, like, I'm doing it with crayons, and, it's like we got crayons, and the whole way they ran the cooking class, it's like really basic instruction, and it's like, I don't know, the whole way they just talk to you, and like you have these, like, we basically have different activities throughout the day, and we rotate through different activities, and like I remember there would also be like this PE class that we would go to. It was like a PE thing, PE activity, and that was also ran terribly because they treat you like you're, I don't know, they give you these plastic balls like you're 5 years old, and it was just really demeaning to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, this approach works for some people. Some people love this approach. I mean, this approach may work for people who have more severe autism, or for people who have Down syndrome, or for like people who I mean, so I watched this one video about someone with severe autism. I have high functioning autism, but I watched this video about somebody with severe autism. I mean, and this one social worker who was in the video was saying that he's similar to a child, and yeah, I could kind of see that. That approach works for some, but the problem is most of these special needs organizations, I swear to God, almost every single freaking organization that caters to special needs has a one size fits all approach. And if you have high functioning autism, you get lumped in with everyone else. You get lumped in with the people who have severe autism and Down syndrome and those kind of things, and you get treated equally. You will get treated like a child. And some people need that. It's good for some people because some people like benefit from that. It works for some, but it doesn't work for all, and it didn't work for me. And in my case, it actually undermined my intelligence. It made me feel stupid. It made me feel like I'm not good enough. It made me feel dumb, and I believe it undermines your intelligence. And they had absolutely no activities whatsoever that stimulate the mind or stimulate the brain or stimulate learning. There was absolutely no like more intellectual type activities. Like I believe that people with high functioning autism, it would be good for them to play chess, or to play Catan, or to play Dungeons and Dragons, play some board games, play some card games, Board games and card games are an excellent icebreaker, and they didn't even do that. Most special needs organizations don't even do board games or card games because it's like they assume that you're too stupid to even play those kind of games. Like, oh, you're so stupid, you can't even do that. It's like, you know what? No, no, we're not that stupid. It's like, and it really undermines it undermines it. It makes you feel like you are retarded. It really makes you feel like that. It does. And I realized that this negative treatment that I got growing up and being treated like a child for having a disability, like high functioning autism, really has done a lot of damage to my psyche and is a big reason why I have low self esteem. I mean, I still suffer from low self esteem, and that's a subconscious trigger. I mean, I also found another um, organization that was like a online meetup for autistic people, and they did the same thing. They had the same kind of mentality, treating us like children. The people who ran it had the same kind of mentality. They were treating us like children. The activities were like catered. You'd think that the activities were catered towards like 12-year-olds or something. You'd think that we were 12 years old, and the kind of activities that we do. I mean, I will name off some. I mean, this other organization that I went to in high school that I'm talking about, that it's not the online meetup, it's the first one that I was talking about. They did have bowling, which is good. I think the bowling's good. And they recently added game night, but it's game night with senior citizens. I mean, I get it. You're trying to benefit the senior citizens, because they're lonely, but it's like, no, have them play board games with each other. Have them do this with each other. Another problem with most special needs meetups organizations, like special needs organization that are aimed at being like meetups or whatever, or like networking organizations. The problem is that it's a real lack of diversity, because a lot of times it's just people with special needs only, and you don't get other people in the mix, and it just seems to be a real lack of diversity, and that limits who you can interact with and make friends with. And if you can't have some kind of guidance, if you don't have some kind of guidance, then it's like you're gonna regress, you're gonna be stuck, because if you're just interacting with special needs only, then sometimes it doesn't help, because it's a lack of diversity, and it sometimes it just, sometimes it's just not gonna be very beneficial. Sometimes it's not beneficial. Sometimes we need to have a little bit more diversity, and sometimes we need to have guidance and have examples. We have to, sometimes we need examples to follow and guidance, and if we're just only interacting with other special needs people, I'm sorry, it's like a drug addict helping a drug addict. That's what it kind of like is. They say that an addict can't help an addict. When somebody's trying to get sober and get off of drugs, it's like the same thing. And it sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Us high functioning autistic people can do a whole lot, to help, and we're pretty cool, but we can, what I'm saying, like, but yeah, I mean, I guess us high functioning people can be an example sometimes, but I don't know, it's a lack of diversity. It really kind of like limits who you can interact with, and then you're like getting into a box, you're boxing yourself in, putting all your eggs in one basket. um yeah, I mean, some of the other activities that this other organization would put on, they would have movie night, but they would show like movies that are oriented towards little kids. Like How to Train a Dragon. Like, come on, that's for little kids. Seriously, they would also show Grease, but I mean, you need to show better movies than that. Like, you need to be showing, show Star Trek or show Star Wars. Like, come on, seriously. No fucking sci-fi movies, from what I know of. Like, and they would also have like these birthday parties, but the whole way they run it, it's like a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party. Have you ever been to like a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party when you're in elementary school? That's basically the whole way they run the birthday party. It's like the equivalent to a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party, the whole way they run it. And it's like, it's like the whole way they put on the birthday celebration. It's like you're 5 years old or you're 12. It's like you're 12 the whole way they put it on. And it's okay for the children who are of that age, it's okay for them. But for us older people, for us people who are older and into our teens, to be treated like that, it's really undermining us a whole lot. It's undermining our development. It does more harm than good. And I have some friends who are on the spectrum. I have this one girl who is a friend of mine who's on the spectrum. There's this one girl of my there's this ugh. Okay, there's this girl that I know who's a friend of mine that's on the spectrum, who's a little bit younger than me. And we weren't keeping in touch as much because I know that we don't have as much in common anymore as we used to. We don't have a whole lot in common, but I she's going off to college, so I'm gonna meet up with her this Friday, and I called her up yesterday, and I really I feel that I feel I really saved the friendship, because it was kind of like just not working out anymore like it used to. I feel like I kind of saved it, because she was telling me about some instances where she felt like she got unfairly discriminated against because of her autism and stuff like that. And I've become like her advocate. Like, I'm the one of the only people who will advocate for her, and I told her about this one organization. I met her there at that organization that I was talking about at the beginning. I met her there. I mean, this organization that I'm talking about, they're good for special needs people making friends, and that's literally all they're good for. They're not good for anything else. And I made friends of her over there. Yeah, and I told her about it. I told her about how they treat you like children. I told her all about it. I have another really powerful example too. But I told her all about that. And I know that organization's literally her whole life, her whole social network. So I was like, yeah, you don't need to stop going, but just be aware of these things. And it's really hard for her. She can't quite comprehend it. She's in disbelief and she's in shock and she can't quite comprehend it. And I don't blame her. I really don't blame her for being in disbelief. And she also can't quite comprehend it and put the dots together. But she also suffers from low self esteem too. And I know exactly why, because people have been telling her all her life that she's not good enough and been treating her like a child and haven't been giving her the dignity and respect that she deserves as an adult or a developing teenager when she was one. I mean, I've been to college. I know when somebody is giving me the dignity I deserve. I know when somebody's treating me like an adult. I know when somebody's giving me the respect that I deserve. And it really fucking feels good to be treated with dignity and respect. It really fucking feels good to not be treated like a fucking child. It really feels good. It really is empowering. It really is very empowering to be treated with respect and dignity and not to be treated like a child and not to be looked at as the child and to be looked at as an adult who and when somebody and just when somebody believes in you and somebody has confidence in you, like, hey, you can do it. Not these guys. These guys don't. These guys that I mentioned, these special needs organizations that I mentioned, they don't. They don't have confidence in you. They don't believe that you can do it. They don't believe that you have potential. They don't believe it. They don't believe it cuz they don't treat you like that. They treat you like you're 12 years old or something. They treat you like a child. They treat you like a little kid, and it's very upsetting to me that they do this to everyone. So I know this approach works for some people, but it doesn't work for all people. It's like, why are you doing this to everybody? Why do you fucking have a one size fits all approach? I mean, it's not okay. It's not okay because it impacts people like me. It makes people like me feel stupid and feel mentally retarded and feel like we have low self esteem when we really don't, because I am not mentally retarded, and I know that. My boyfriend's told me that I'm no dummy, but there's so many times that things come up or I'm in a situation and I don't feel confident in myself. I don't feel confident even trying new things. It's all thanks to people like that who reinforce those negative stereotypes and who do this undermining of your maturity, and they undermine your intelligence, they undermine your maturity. And not just special needs organizations do this. Schools do this. Most schools do this. Especially you're placed in learning disabled classes, that really does a lot of damage. They do that. Parents do it. You know, my mom has done it. And still does it. It's really fucked up. And my friend who my okay, the girl that I know who is on the spectrum, who's been a friend of mine for like about 3 to 4 years or something like that. I've been friends with her since 2015. She's going to this college internship program. It's basically like a special needs college program, and she told me that she has a curfew. She's not allowed to have alcohol. She's not allowed to have boys over, and she has to tell the social workers who run it where she is at all times. And if she goes out, she has to tell them where she's going and where she is, like, at all times. They have to know where you are at all times. What the fuck kind of... That is fucking ridiculous, because that is micromanaging your life. They're essentially acting as helicopter parents. How in the fuck is that fostering independence? It's not fucking fostering independence at all. It's making you feel stupid. It's making you feel low self-esteem. It's not making you feel confidence. That is destructive as fuck. You know, that is not helping special needs people. I'm sorry. That is not, I mean, I guess for some people that approach works. I will say that again. But for high functioning autistic people, for people who need to have somebody to be confident in them and to not micromanage them and not helicopter them, not treat them like children, somebody who needs respect and dignity, somebody like me, that is fucking destructive as fuck. That is really fucking destructive. That mentality is just really destructive. You know, having to have a curfew and you're over 18, and keep in mind she's over 18 now, and she at this college, they give her own apartment, but she has to have a curfew, no alcohol, no boys spending the night, you know, and she has to tell the social workers if she leaves and where she is at all times. It's like a low level prison. That's what my boyfriend told me. It's like a low level prison. What the fuck, man? You know, that's fucked up. I'm sorry. That's fucked up. You know, I guess that works for some people who are not as high functioning as people like me are. I guess that works for some people, but it doesn't work for all. Stop having a one size fits all approach. Stop. Because that is not cool. That just makes people worse. That makes people regress. You wonder why. You know, you wonder why. Well, you know,